Good morning, everybody. Hope all is well. It's going to be today. We're going to talk about, whether you should have a girlfriend or live-in partner, and kind of an open forum type of deal. Other questions or 1 second. I'm just going to mute this. Cut double in my ear here. So, kind of an open forum, and see if anybody wants to discuss anything in particular. Also, when the Philippines will open might be a discussion, as there's a few tiny updates. I made a video on it, should be coming out in a few days. So there's that. So I'll go ahead and start reading the comments here. Just Go More Hike says hello to everyone, and good morning to you, Mike. And let's see. Mike asked if we got any hot topics. I think the topic today will be live-in versus marriage. We've talked about it a bit, somewhat about the common laws, the divorce laws here that might be coming here, and Gio's done a video on some other stuff, some other laws, and how to protect yourself. So we can talk a bit about that. We can also talk about when the Philippines will open, more than likely, and we'll go from there. There's still only not many people on today. Let's see. Mr. Ron is with us today from Davao City. Good morning, Ron. How are you today? Let's see. Good morning to Greg. And another Greg. Good morning. And Gomor asks how cohab life has been working for me. It's been working great. December, we've been together for 2 years, actually lived together for 2 years. So it's gone great so far. But there are other people that it doesn't go so well for. And I know there's been a lot of talk, and I made a video about the common laws here. And there's a lot of people getting scared and all that. But I have searched and searched online, and I can't see in one case that's been used against a foreigner. I've seen it being used against Filipino, but we're talking, cohab for 5 or 10 years, and then purchase of land and all that stuff. The thing here is, if someone's going to sue you, it's going to take years and years. If you think the justice system takes long in the US, times it with 5 here. So plus the cost of hiring a lawyer, hundreds of hours, you're talking hundreds of thousands of pesos. Very, very few Filipinos are going to actually go through that to try to get some financial gain towards the end. I just don't see it, really. But it's good to be aware of the laws and good to protect yourself, especially if you have a lot of income. So Tuata says, welcome, Paul. It's September now, and now signs of opening. COVID's still getting worse there. Well, it's getting worse, but getting better, because I think the last numbers I saw was around 20 million Filipinos have gotten at least the first shot. So it is increasing here, and it seems to be every week. It seems to be, the rate seems to be increasing. So I don't know if it'll open before Christmas. That was my thought process a few months ago. But looking at everything going on, I don't know if you guys know this, me and Gio from Gio in the Philippines, we have a bet. And I think he's going to win the bet, because the way I look at it, it's probably going to open after New Year sometime, closer to the election. It almost seems to me like it's become more political than based on data. Because right now, they tried this keeping everybody out of the Philippines, so the variants wouldn't come here. The Delta variant is here. The Alpha variant is here. So, and now they have the new Mu variant that's supposedly not very good for us humans. So I think people have got to get to the realization and shift their thought process from pandemic to endemic, meaning this is something that's going to be with us forever. There's always going to be new variants, and we're going to have to learn to live with it. We're going to have to learn to cope with it with vaccines and other means. So, and I think many countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, are all coming to the same conclusion and about to start bubble tourism. So I believe the Philippines will follow suit, but I think it'll be probably closer to the election, so the people in power can get certain benefits from it. The one in power, if they open up and everybody's happy, they get reelected, right? So that's how politicians think. I'm not saying they do that here, but typically that's how politicians think, right? Almost 2 years. Yeah, almost 2 years, like 1 year and 7 months or something, 8 months maybe. Hey, One Love, how's it going? Everything's good here. Good morning, Tim. Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Good morning.
From Laguna. And good morning to Mia.
Good morning.
Did you sleep in that? I fell asleep on your clothes? You didn't change?
It's tired.
Make yourself some coffee. So here's Mia waking up. Oh, okay. No, not now, darling. Yeah, that is a long time. Besides marriage, I think that's the longest I've ever had a girlfriend or cohab with anybody. So, yeah. Good morning from Texas. Good morning, Kerrville, Texas. Mr. Ron says, Nay and I have been together close to 3 years now. That's a long time, anything over 6 months, it becomes long. So, yeah. And Bill has been together with his girlfriend for 16 years. I'm assuming here in the Philippines, right, Bill? That's a long time. That's marriage time. Greg says, wake Paul up. I'm the one waking her up, but thank you for that. Well, actually, now she started waking me up because she started classes and her class starts at 8 and she's up at sometimes 5 in the morning getting ready for class. So she wakes me up. It's Sinovac mostly, very low effective on Delta, if any. Yeah, the Sinovac is not as efficient as the Pfizer's and Moderna's, but they have, I think, 20 million Pfizer or 40 million Pfizer shots and millions of Moderna shots. So it's a combination of everything here. And they're not even looking at it like saying, okay, 60% got the Chinese version. They're just looking at how many people are vaccinated. And one of the things Duterte said he wants to open up once they get to, I think he said 70% vaccination in the Philippines. Now, Filipinos in general, from what I've seen and talked to, they seem to be hesitant about taking the vaccine because of all the YouTube videos, people turning into zombies and dying, whatever. People will believe just about anything, right? So they're very hesitant on that. And we'll see. I think they've already started implementing. As an example, myself and Mia were at the mall, SM Mall, and Mia wanted to go to Jollibee's, so we went to Jollibee's, and they wouldn't let us in because we didn't have a vaccination card. Now, we do have a vaccination card, but we didn't have it with us. So we couldn't do inside eating. We'd have to take the food and eat it outside. So we went to McDonald's instead. And there they had a sign for vaccinated only seating area, but they didn't have, one of the guard people controlling that. So everybody who wanted to sit there just sat there. So it seems like they are slowly implementing this rule that you got to have a vaccine. And another thing, we went to a gas station to fill gas, and the guy asked us, do we have a vaccine card? And I said, a vaccine card? We have to have a vaccine card to fill gas now? And he said, no, but you get a discount if you have a vaccine card. So they started implementing all these type of rewards, and I don't know if you want to call it punishment, but punishment, not letting people in and so on, um, to try to encourage people to get the vaccine. And I think it's going to become more and more prevalent here in the Philippines. So, Duata says even Pfizer effectiveness drops by 2/3 after 6 months. I don't think it's quite 2/3. Duata, I think it's like goes down to 60 or 70, 80% maybe. I don't know. I don't know numbers. I got the shot and getting the second one the 14th, and then I'm done. I get my vax card, and I hopefully can travel a bit more. If I cohab with a Filipina and my net worth drops from 2 million to 1 million during the cohab time, then does she owe me dollars if we break up? God, you know what, JB? I wish it was like that, but it seems a feminine imperative all over the world is only benefits. The laws only apply when it benefits the females, right? So somehow, as for example, even here, and you guys need to watch Gio's video on this. As an example, if you bring a girl to a certain standard of living and she is living with you and you ask her to quit her job, now you're kind of responsible for that after the fact. So that's the kind of stuff that's coming here too, But so you're financially responsible for her, but because she has gotten used to a certain lifestyle, but never goes the other way around. You've got used to a certain amount of love from her, but you aren't entitled to that, but she's entitled to your money, right? That's the way it works, man. It's only a one-way ticket. And what's that song? One-way ticket to the moon. That's should be a one-way ticket to bankruptcy, right? Let's see. So RXTX, thanks so much for the super chat. Thanks for all the great content and advice. No problem, man. Watching your channel, Geo's, Mia's, P's, and others, it's like watching a reality show from multiple perspectives. Yeah, that's true. Nice community you guys are creating. Yeah, I'm actually gonna. I don't know if I should mention this before talking to the people. I'll wait with that and see if they say yes or no. But I might have an announcement, but we'll see. Let's see, where was I? Are there child support laws there? Yes, there are child support laws. I know there's no divorce there, not yet at least. Yeah, not yet. That's the thing, right? There are child support laws, but are they enforced? Hardly ever. But I mean, if you have a child with someone, obviously you should support them. But for the most part, it seems like, and Mia might correct me here, but many, I'm not saying all, but many Filipinos, they get girls pregnant and then they just leave. So Mia can attest to this, but there are many women out there, single mothers, who don't get a penny from the biological father. So, right? Mia gave me thumbs up. So, what are the biggest changes you have seen in Mia after 2 years? A good question. What about yourself? Biggest changes Mia would seen in you? I'll let her answer that. But congrats on 2 years. Well, it's not quite 2 years, but almost there. What are the biggest changes you've seen in Mia after 2 years? Well, the biggest change is her English is so much better. Her confidence has increased quite a bit, but still it's kind of low. And she has been her, what's they call it? Her drive seems to have increased. Her drive to do better in life. I've kind of pushed her in that direction. So now she's in nursing school. She's studying, and I mean, she is really studying. God, I wish I had studied that hard when I was in school. So she's become very goal oriented. Like she wants to do something with her life, and maybe she was always like that. It was just not showing in the beginning. Were you always like that, babe? She says yes. Did I push you? Huh?
I always join different school contests just to show,
You joined the school contests because you were driven.
Yeah. Like,
But did I do anything for that, or it's just all been there always?
I think it's all there hidden, but
So no thanks to me, right?
it's all there.
It's all there. She
It's
says.
hidden, but then
I don't get any credit, guys.
it's all there hidden, but then I stopped showing because of my mom's.
Because of everything going on in your life with your family, it kind of went backwards. Yeah. Yeah. So I think her English is the biggest thing. Otherwise, she's pretty much the same person I met 2 years ago. Her shyness is a bit less, I would say. But yeah. She's the same. Okay, babe, part of the question was, what changes have you seen in me in the last 2 years?
What changes?
That's not a good question, guys. We'll move on from there. I'm sorry. Internal joke here. Yes, it's an endemic, but other mitigations will have to be maintained until at least the vulnerable are vaccinated. Yeah, exactly. So they just have to learn to cope with it. And there'll always be people who are vulnerable, and we'll always have, I won't say always, but I think the masks are with us to stay for a while. Social distancing is going to be here for a while. The washing of the hands constantly when going different places is going to be here for a while. So at least here in the Philippines. Good morning, Paul, from Steve in Pennsylvania, formerly in Florida. Good morning. How are you? Do I say never turn down a woman in that kind of mood, Paul? So Bill has been with his girl for 16 years, unmarried. So his girlfriend. So there you go, guys. People have asked me if it's possible, and obviously Bill has done it, so it is possible. Go more hike asks, what's your feeling about one-itis? And not everybody might know what that is, but basically if a guy gets really hung up on a girl and like his whole world revolves around the girl, and if it ends with the girl, it feels like he's dying, kind of thing, and he's always thinking about her and all that. And I think it's not a good thing. I've always said women should be a complement to your life and not your life. So one-itis is never a good thing. I don't think it's good for the relationship either. It's not good for the woman. I think a woman would lose interest in a guy like that who's constantly chasing, constantly doing everything for her. It's not a good thing. Says it's worse than appendicitis. Yep. It's also due to experience with Dengvaxia in the Philippines. What is Dengvaxia, babe? Was that a vaccine they got here and some people died or something? Yeah? Okay, yeah, I remember reading about that some time ago. Yeah, that might be the case. That might be the case. They got a vaccine, but I mean, these vaccines that are currently out, they've been giving to tens of millions, and I don't see people lining up at the hospital because of vaccines. I see them lining up at the hospital because of COVID. At least the vulnerable people are. In the UK, there are now just as many new cases as at any time, but because of vaccination, many less are ending up in hospital or dying. Yeah. I read a statistic, but this was a few weeks ago, that like 99% of people that are in the hospital are non-vaccinated people. So there's that. Any talk about the marriage rates there, meaning locals to locals marrying, rising or falling? One thing I've noticed with the Philippines, the statistics doesn't seem to, I mean, I can Google it right now, but I just don't think you'll find that type of statistics in the Philippines. But I can Google it. I shouldn't say no before I look. Let's see. Fewer Filipinos got married in 2019. Here it says CNN Philippines. So just at a glance, it seems to be going down, but I haven't really dug deep into it. But just anecdotally, from what I see, less and less Filipinos seem to be getting married and more cohabitation and just kind of boyfriend girlfriend
There's
type
no
of deal.
money.
Huh?
No money.
Mia says no money because marriage is expensive, right?
It is.
Because you have to buy the pig and invite the people and all that, and some people just can't afford it, right? So there's that too, especially now with the
Sometimes
COVID.
they do like, cohabitation first,
Yeah,
but after they save money, they they
they
marry.
do cohab first and then they get married,
Yeah.
kind of like in the West. And it's becoming more like the West. Yeah, yeah. So
Because they don't have money.
no money, no honey. Duatha says not according to the Israeli data, Paul. What are you talking about there? The Corona stuff? Superfly asks, bit of a different question, but as a motorcycle guy, what's your opinion of what's better to get in the Philippines? The Honda ADV versus Wave versus PCX? Of course, buying one before cohabitation. Well, I sat on it depends what you're using it for, right? I sat on the Honda ADV. To me, it wasn't very comfortable. But however, you can change the seat out. So that's the Wave I haven't tried. The PCX I actually drove, and it seemed very underpowered, I have to say, compared, for example, even to my Click. It seemed very underpowered. If you're considering the PCX, why not consider the NMAX? If you're going to do touring, that's your main thing is touring, and you're not going off too much into the mountains, into the gravel roads and so on, NMAX would probably be your best buy. I've looked at all those. PCX, I was one that I was really interested in, but now it's the NMAX. The only thing that's negative with the NMAX, the wheels and the radius on the wheels aren't as big as some of the other bikes you mentioned there. So, but yeah, consider the NMAX too. Oops. Willie says, even here in the UK, the Scottish government is introducing vaccine passports. Yeah, they are here too. So, one-way ticket, says Mike. Plow the horse and no internet. Oh, we're back. Sorry, seem to have lost the internet there for a second. In Canada, if you don't have a vaccine passport, you will soon lose your job. Really? And that's what it's getting to in Canada. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm telling you, there's going to be more and more type of stuff to push people to get vaccinated. The US, I think, is at like 72% or something. People having at least one shot. So I think they're ahead of most of the world. If everyone in the US got vaccinated, that could this being virus would be, then this effing virus would be gone. I don't think it'll ever be gone. I think it's too late. I think it'll always be there, even because there's even breakthrough cases with the vaccine. It's a virus, okay? It's constantly going to mutate. You're not going to get rid of it. We just have to learn to live with it and try to minimize the effects of it via vaccine, social distancing, washing hands, and so on. So I just don't see where it's ever going to go away. But those biological fathers are not Americans. Oh, the ones that just go away. That's true. And typically, from what I've seen here, not just Americans, but Westerners in general, when they do make a girl pregnant, even if they don't stay with the girl, they tend to send money because it's kind of in our culture, we've been raised that way, I would say. So how much do you think it will cost to rent a one-bedroom condo in Macta, Newtown once the Philippines opens to international tourism? Well, it really depends when you say opens up. If you're talking straight away when it opens up, the prices will still be lower. If you're talking a year from opening up, it'll be back to normal. But right now, you probably get a one-bedroom, Last I looked, it was 30. If you got good negotiation skills, I bet you can get it down to 25. I'm actually moving in about a month's time to a new condo. I was paying 23.5 with this. My new condo, I'll be paying 20. Actually paying 18 plus 2 for the internet, so 20. So that's $3,500 cheaper. So you can negotiate, and I probably could have negotiated even more, but the adults in the USA that refuse vaccination are showing that natural selection is true. Idiots. I don't like to call people idiots, but people have their choice to make, and if they watch the news and go to the hospitals and see how the hospitals are full of older people, overweight people, people with comorbidities. How do you say that again, babe? Comorbidities. You guys know what I mean. Comorbidities. It's people are dying, and if I was overweight or had comorbidities or any type of other issues, I would absolutely take the vaccine, because you don't see people going to the hospital because of vaccines. You see people going to the hospital because of COVID. So, but myself and Mia watch the news sometimes, and we see even kids are dying now. But I've seen some of these kids, and they're way overweight as well, so they have issues as well. So my thing is stay healthy, take your vitamins, work out, and eat healthy, and you'll probably survive the COVID even without a vaccine. But I took the vaccine, so I am pro-vaccination. They reduce deaths, but the vaccine is weak and fades quickly. The pace of the vaccination is also far too slow, and we will see evasive variants by next spring. Yeah, for sure. We already started seeing that with the Delta variant, the Alpha variant, and this new Mu variant. So yeah, it's Me variant. I mean, not Mu, Me. How much does it cost to send a Filipina to nursing school? It depends on the school. Each school has different costs, but it's less than $1,000 a semester, $1,000 a semester, even at the private schools. But then, there's books, there is other things, there is laptops, there is tablets, there is, if they're not living with you, boarding and so on. So it's not a cheap endeavor if that's the route you're going to go. Edward says, my ancestors are from Bergen and Haugesund areas. Where are you from, Paul? Well, I wasn't born in Norway. I was actually born in England, so I'm British by birth. But I lived close to Oslo, and I also lived in Stavanger. I lived in a place called Langhus, which directly translated means long house. And it's just close to a place called Ski, S-K-I. So, and it would be just south of Oslo on the east side of the fjord, if you're aware of the geographic way. Babe, what are you doing? Who said I love you first? Or are you still waiting for that special moment? Yeah, still waiting. She never says that to me. I never say it. We say I hate you to each other. Joke lang. Who said it first, baby? Probably you, right?
No.
Yeah.
It was you.
No.
No, when we're at Suleiman Beach.
I said that to you? I said that to you?
Yeah.
Okay. She says, my memory is horrible, so I got to go by what she says. She says I said it first.
Because when we were at the Suleiman Beach, and then the moment was just so intense, you know what I mean?
So romantic.
Yeah. I think you got carried away by it. I don't know.
Then I had to wait another month before I said it again. Ma'am, coach says, what you said doesn't make sense. Okay. If an old woman moved there and cohabitated with a young Filipino poor man and elevated his lifestyle and then broke up, he would also be able to litigate The female. Yes, correct. But as you know, Ma'am Cash, women don't date down. They date across or up. Men will date down because men look for youth and beauty. Women look for security. So, and if a guy is in his 25, 30 years old and he's a millionaire, he ain't dating no 40, 50-year-old woman. That's just the way it is. Sorry, but that's just reality, you know. It goes both ways. No, not really. It doesn't. I wish, but really it doesn't. Morning, George. How are you? Dennis, Southern Dennis says, Mia, when you and Paul move to the new condo, don't fall for his old tricks. Leg hurts, back hurts. Can you do it, babe? I don't know what that means. Paul, I'm a foreigner who owns land in Bicol. Prove that foreigners can own land there. Well, they can own land through like some business ventures and all that stuff. But again, if that goes to court and you've been shown to try to circumvent the Filipino constitution, you will lose. So I would be very careful with that. Is cryptocurrency getting more popular in the Philippines? I really don't know. But I haven't really heard too many people talk about crypto here. But I'm actually might get into crypto. I've been very against crypto, but I've been looking into it and talking to my brother who's really, really into it. So I'm going to start looking into crypto because the dollar is just ridiculous. How much dollars they keep printing is to the point you can't have money in cash anymore. Sorry, I lost my... God, sorry, guys. I lost the space here. Duatha says, yes, it is. Talking about crypto now, largely on the back of Axie Infinity NFT gaming. Oh, I think crypto is much more than NFT and stuff. It's just people, I think, have started realizing with all this money being printed, they better put their money somewhere else. And stocks right now are way overvalued. So cohab is the way of the future, says Mark. Yep, I think so. Ricky says, good morning, Mr. Paul and Miss Mia. I always enjoy both of your vlogs. Dave asks, is it safe to ride a motorbike in the Philippines? The safest in Southeast Asia? No, I would say definitely not the safest in Southeast Asia. I would say it's dangerous. It is, but it's a necessity. So it takes time to get used to the flow here, the traffic flow. So when you first move here, you have to be really, really careful. And then you start getting used to the traffic. You see how people move. But the good thing is here that the speeds are relatively low. The bad thing, depending on the island you are, there are some crazy drivers too. So especially the ones in the pickup trucks, they seem to think they own the road, and the serious buses. So you kind of know what to look out for after a while. And so far, touch wood, I haven't had an accident. I've been close twice, but
Not twice.
Twice.
Jokes.
Twice that I remember anyway, because my heart started beating so fast. But yeah, I mean, in general, you know where to drive, when to drive. Also, I try not to drive at night. I try not to drive on the weekends because of people drinking and driving. So you have to kind of minimize your risk by doing certain things. Yeah. Ricky Fuller says, I don't want the vaccine shot, but I finally broke down and got it because I know in April 2022 I'll need it to move there. Yeah, well, you're still alive, so you're not dead. Actually, after the Moderna shot, I got a really bad headache and a fever. So, everybody reacts differently, and some people don't seem to react to it. So everybody reacts differently. Do you see SJWs around there? Blue hair ladies with nose piercings and short hair. I've seen some, but very, very, very few. Not like the West, man. But when it comes to feminization, the Philippines is very slowly becoming more feminist, and that has to do with a whole bunch of things that I won't get into this live cast. Maybe on my other channel. By the way, guys, check out my other channel called Primal Door. Again, Primal Door. I'll put a link to it, I think, so you guys can see it. Let's see. How do I get there? So here we go. There's a link to the Primal Door in case anybody wants to take a look at it. And oh, sorry, that's the wrong link. That's the wrong link, guys. That's what happens when you go on the fly here. Here it is. Sorry. Go back and see. Hold on, guys. Put it on here. There you go. That's the right link. So let's move on from there. David, so Paul, great content as usual. Do you think online dating is better than meeting a person in person? And do you think lots of Filipino females are scammers? No, I don't think lots of Filipinos are scammers, but however, I do think all scammers are online. So there's a disproportionate amount of Filipinos that are scammers online. So the chances of meeting a scammer is much, much larger online than in person. What I think about online dating, honestly, if you're living here, I think meeting girls in person is probably a better way to go. The best way, actually, if you want to have a serious relationship, is to, if you have friends here, like maybe some white guy or some, not white guy, but some American or European married to a Filipina, or be in long-term relationship with a Filipina, and he knows her sister or her cousins, and they're good girls, and then I think that would be probably the best way to meet someone for a long-term relationship. Online dating, I think, is very hit and miss. Man. It's very hit and miss, and plus, if you're not here and you're just talking online, you really don't know the girl. And I've had this happen to me several times. I've met girls online when I lived in the States. Came over here, I thought this girl is it, and you come over and just that chemistry wasn't there. So online dating is hard. But if you're in the West wanting to come here, I guess that's all you're left with right now. So why not? But I wouldn't join now. I would join maybe 2-3 months before I came here, especially if you are planning on only coming here for 2-3 weeks or a month, like a mini vacation. I would do online dating and set up, maybe, like, if you're going to be here for 3 weeks, maybe set up 4 or 5 dates ahead of time, because the first one might not have chemistry, the second one might not have chemistry, and then the third one might be it, right? And then you can just go with her and cancel the other 2. So yeah. So One Love, thank you so much for the super chat. There's a question here. If you're not ready to cohab, how would you suggest telling a Filipina that you still want to date, but just not exclusively, while minimizing hurting her feelings? Well, if you're not if you just, obviously, if you're not dating exclusively, you're not living together. That's pretty obvious. I would just tell her that, for example, something like this, I like you, but let's just have an open relationship. We can just date for now. We're just dating for now. Say something like, we're just dating for now. And then she should understand from that. I know people, I've known people that have dated several girls and just not said anything to anybody. Now you're taking a chance that you'll get discovered, and I've known people who get discovered, and it's kind of embarrassing for them. But it's really up to you how much you want to say. But don't give her the impression that you're dating exclusively if you're not, because then she's dropping her stuff. But here in the Philippines, if you go out on a few dates, let's say 4 or 5 dates, they kind of think you're dating exclusively. It's not like in the West. You don't really have to have the talk, but you could have the talk the other way. Just tell her, hey, I'm dating. I'm not boyfriend, girlfriend yet. Right now, we're just dating. And they can take that any way they want. Again, thank you for the super chat, One Love. To Atlanta Yardi, thank you for the super chat. No question there. So now I have to go back and try to find the place. Let's see. Yep. Okay. Jack Hayden asked, how could Philippines law enforce a West guy to continue to supply some of his income to support his ex-Filipina? Well, if you're in the Philippines, obviously they can enforce it. But yes, you're right. If you go back to the States, they can't enforce it. But, if he draws his money monthly from his home country, how would they get it from you? Well, you know what? I don't know what the enforcement rules are, but in the US, they can put you in jail. So I'm sure it's something similar here. But it is hard to enforce, man. It's really hard to enforce because, number one, you could be living anywhere. But then again, when you go to renew your visa, there might be a hold on it. So I'm sure they have their ways. But that's kind of what I was saying. In the Philippines, it doesn't have the centralized data computers like we have in the West, where one government agency is connected to a government agency and they kind of talk to each other. Here, it seems like it's all paperwork. It seems kind of a mess. So I kind of agree with you. I think enforcement would be very, very hard. And that's why I think these things really don't happen. However, when it comes to child support, I think everybody needs to support their child if it's proven that it is their child. I'd always do a DNA test if it didn't look like me. If it looks pure Filipino, do a DNA test. Hi, Paul. My company says get vaccinated or find another job. There you go, man. There you go. I'm assuming this is in the US or Canada or some Western country. What kind of work is that? Because that also depends, right? If you're the type of work, like, for example, if you're in a restaurant business or you're an airline steward or where there's a lot of people around you and you're serving a lot of people, yeah, I can understand that they're saying you need a vaccine. But if you're sitting mostly in your own office, do you really need a vaccine? That's debatable. New variants every year, need new vaccine every year. Exactly. It's going to be like the flu shot, right? It's going to have, when you take the flu shot, there are dozens, if not hundreds of different types of strains in there to protect you. What? Pig sales? What is this about? Oh, I missed one. Oh, I missed this one. Sorry. Randy says pig sales had been down. Meredith had a hard time selling last litters. New litters selling well as breeding stock and future lechon. Things seem to be improving. Okay. And then there's someone here who says, Go More Hike says, Randy, are pig sales the sign of the marriage rates for the wedding party? Maybe. Maybe people are just celebrating that it's starting to open here. Dave says, Paul, I'm betting the Philippines doesn't open up until 2023 because of the new Me variant. I don't know, man. Oh, if that happens, the Philippines will be in a world of hurt. I mean, world of hurt. I think at that point you'll see total collapse in the housing market. Total. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Then again, I thought it would be open by now, so maybe I'm wrong. Vaccination rates in the USA are patchy. In many states, it's as low as 40%. Yes, and those states are the ones suffering the most right now. And those states are having the highest rates of hospitalization. Yes, UK and EU have higher rates. Yep, exactly. Gomar Hike says, single motherhood. Any responsibility put on the women there, or is it all totally put on the man for running off? Well, it is put on the woman because she ends up taking care of the child. So in a way, she's taking responsibility for her action. The guy runs away, so he's not. But it's not like in the West here. Women don't have access to all the different types of prevention they can take to stop themselves from getting pregnant. All the different types of birth controls. They just don't have access to it, and they don't have the money to it. So it's not quite like the West, and they don't have abortion here. So, and guys and girls are going to do what they're going to do anyway, right? So some get pregnant, and the girls are the ones actually who take responsibility for the most part. So unlike the West, it seems women make the decision whether to have the baby or not, and you have nothing to say in it, but you're somehow responsible. So 146 people watching, hit that like button. Yeah, people, hit the like button. That's a really good thing. Hit the like button. That really helps me on the YouTube algorithm, So what was the normal rent for a 1-bedroom condo in Macta, Newtown? 700. I was told, 700. I was not the 1-bedroom. For the condo, they told me it was 700 before, 35,000 pesos. Whether I believe that or not, I don't know, but that's what they said. And I look at Airbnb, and they're asking is like $700 to $1,100 for a condo. The 1-bedroom is going to be $100 to $200 more expensive. So yeah. Healthy, unvaccinated people are dropping like flies in Texas. I don't know if I believe that, man. Every time I look at the news, I don't mean this to be a derogatory comment, but every time I watch the news and I see the people in the hospital, they're like way, way overweight. I still haven't seen one person in the news, maybe one, in the news where is in the hospital where he looks normal, So even the kids I've seen, they never show their faces, but you can tell by their upper torso that they haven't been eating a good diet, a varied diet of healthy food. It's a lot of McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken and whatever fast food there is around, Wendy's and everything else. What's local TV and media like there? When I watch TV, I see a lot of pro SJW. I really don't watch media here. The only thing I watch is Amazon Prime now. I've cut out my subscription to Netflix because there was so much stuff where they seem to have a white guy, a black guy, a Latino guy, an Asian guy, a gay guy, and then they got to have the woman in there, and woman is always strong and she's never weak, and all the politically correct BS that we see. And I just like, once in a while I'd see something good on Netflix, but I decided to go over to Amazon Prime and watch some stuff there instead. And I'm glad I did, because there's a lot of good stuff on Amazon Prime. And once I run out of good stuff there, I might go to HBO. And then once I run out of that, I might go back to Netflix. We'll see. Mia, I smile every time you correct Paul's English. Yeah. Duata says, Alpha and Delta didn't respond to the vaccine as they came into existence before. True. It's just bad luck that these variants resist. But there's always going to be a new variant. That's the thing with viruses. They're always mutating. And there's always going to be a new variant that the vaccine will not work on. So $1,000 or pesos. Oh, for the condo? Dollars, not pesos. Not pesos. Does the heat and humidity bother you there some months? No, it doesn't bother me. It does bother other people, but me, no. I lived in Houston and loved it. people say the weather in Dallas is better than Houston. I prefer the weather in Houston. I love the humidity. I love the rain. So it doesn't bother me. Me variant isn't the one you should be scared of. It's the C12. Okay, I'm sure there's more variants coming. I'm sure there'll be a C22 soon. Willie Shepherd. The vaccine causes the body to produce antibodies. These fade steadily, true, but leave memory T and B cells, true also. These give long-term protection, hence people get infected, but not seriously sick. Yeah. And that's the main thing. I mean, if you get infected, it's okay as long as you don't end up in hospital. That's what they're worried about, because if the hospitals fill up, then you'll see the death rate increase dramatically, because a lot of people that could have gotten into the hospital and saved are now not being able to be saved, right? So Ricky says, I took Johnson & Johnson and they said I would get more antibodies if I got another one in 6 months. Yeah, that's what I read too. And even the Pfizer and the Moderna are talking about a third shot not to increase the antibodies. So, but I really think this is going to be a yearly shot or every 6 month type of shot. I really do, where the new variants will be studied and put into the vaccine, if for lack of other words. So yeah. It's going to be like a flu shot. For all you know, man, they might just include it in the flu shot, right? They might just have one shot with everything, the flu, the corona, and everything else. What about Macron has a millionaire with a much older wife? Yes, of course. Of course, you're going to point to the exception to the rule. There's always going to be an exception to the rule. But on average, at like 80-90% is always men with wealth dating younger women dating older men with wealth. It's never, I shouldn't say never, there's an exception to the rule once in a while, but almost always that's the way. Women always date up. So there's that's just the way it is. I mean, you look at the statistics. The statistics will tell you the facts. So yeah. Neil on the Move says, just have girlfriends. Don't pay them a salary. When you're done, move on. Simple. It's actually simple to say, harder to do, because once you're with a girl, you get emotionally involved with her, right? You care. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm with a girl, depends on the girl, right? But typically you care about that person and you want to make sure they're okay. I mean, you don't, even if things don't work out, you worry about that person and how they're living and everything. You just don't, especially if you've been with them for a longer time. Yeah. Go more. Hike says Macron's wife finessed him when he was very young. She was his school teacher, just like Mary Kay Laterno. Yeah, I mean, okay. But it was his choice in the end. He could leave her now if he wanted to, and he doesn't. So, in the Philippines, it's about Axie. Elsewhere, it's about many other things. Axie. There are a few other older women like that in Hollywood. Yeah, there are exceptions to the rules, and there are a few, but I'm saying it's like 80-90% plus is the way I said. So yeah. Axel says, put some like, guys. I agree. Hit the like button, people. My girlfriend and I have been living together for 2 years, and during that time, she made payments on her land. She owns it now. So am I entitled to a cut of that value of the land, two-way street? Yes, you are, actually. If you've been cohabitating, everything that you acquired during the cohabitation is considered community property, unless it can be proven otherwise, meaning that the funds that were used to buy that certain asset were funds that were available to that person before the cohabitation period. So yeah. But yeah, you'd have to go to court and fight her, and it wouldn't be worth the money. That's why it never happens. That's why people don't bother. It's just too much hassle. Don't hold your breath on that one. Yep, I agree. Go More is already subscribed to Primal Door. Thank you for that. elbow bump. Okay. Hi, Paul. London in the house. Hi, Jan Mars. London, England, I'm assuming. One Love says, if you're not ready to cohab, how would you suggest telling a Philippines that you still want? Oh, I read that already. Sorry about that. Okay. Do you see any cancel culture there? Like somebody makes a social media post and gets fired for it? For the most part, no, unless you are talking about politicians. You don't want to post too much bad stuff about politicians, and but for the most part, I haven't really seen that. It's not the same as in the US, no. If divorce is approved in the Philippines, the Filipino relation culture will tragically change. Yeah, it will. It really will, slowly but surely, because if a divorce law came, that would be the first stage, right? The second stage would be changing the divorce law to be even more feminine friendly. And then the third stage would be, the guy is responsible for everything. The fourth stage is like, it's a slow, it's like putting the frog in boiling water and it doesn't realize what happened. So yeah, once that gets approved, not a good thing at all. Traveler 444 says, thank you for keeping it real. Thank you so much for the super chat. It means a lot. Thanks, Traveler. And now I've got to try to go back to. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Go Mark Hike says that if first there will be divorce and it won't stop there, just like the US. Exactly. It'll start with divorce and it'll continue with alimony, and her lifestyle was a certain way and you have to pay her the rest of her life and blah, blah, blah. Some history here. Gilmore Hike says, in 1969, Governor Reagan, California, signed the nation's first no-fault divorce law into effect. He later said it was his biggest political mistake. Yeah. There should be the one making the fault should pay more, if you ask me. I live here and online let me screen girls. No kids, no needy family, has to have job, passport, and be 35 plus. Most don't like guys that live here. Most want kids. 95 to 100% reject me. Only found one. Really? I don't know. That's not my experience. Filipina is only entitled to half of assets accumulated during marriage or cohabitation, so they can't get your support ongoing. Actually, that is not true. They can get ongoing support. I don't quite recall the wording in the cohab and the divorce laws, but or the marriage stuff, but the marriage laws probably don't say it because there's no divorce yet, but in the cohab there was something, and I just watched the videos, watched Gio's video about that and watched my two videos about that. I don't recall exactly how the wording is, so I don't want to say it so I don't make wrong. Can a man ask for DNA test there? Oh yeah, you can ask for a DNA test. I would, especially if I was, if the kid didn't look like me. Manuel says, hello from South Carolina. Hello, Manuel. Are polygamous relationship unheard of in the Philippines? Actually, I knew a guy that lived with two girls. So that lasted for about 3-4 months, and the one girl decided she'd had enough and left. So it is possible. I asked him about that, like, how on earth did you do that? And he told me, well, I had one girlfriend and I brought a new girlfriend home, and I said to my other girlfriend is she's going to live here with us, and you want to stay, you can stay. If you want to leave, leave. And they she stayed. So kind of harsh if you ask me, but that's how he did it. So I kind of didn't believe him in the beginning, but I got it verified from other people. What he was saying is true, but yeah. Entitled, that's a very familiar word to me. I just wish that the concept went both ways. Yeah. That's the thing with the West, man. I just watch these videos in the West, and it's just not entitlement, but I don't know if you guys have watched a guy called Kevin Samuel, and he interviews these women, and these women are, oh my God, the way they talk, their entitlement level, they all think they're princesses, and they're probably a 2, 3, or 4 at the best. And when he asks them to rate themselves, they're rating themselves at 8 and 9s. I'm like, you've never been an 8 or a 9, and it's just the delusion they have, it's just beyond words. Sometimes I watch this and I just shake my head. I mean, I think to myself, does this girl ever look at herself in the mirror and think she's an 8 or a 9? I mean, what? I don't know. It's weird in the West right now. It really is. Philippine Airlines. Yep, Philippine Airlines went bankrupt. I don't know what that means when it comes to flights and all that, but yep, they announced their bankruptcy. So that's a big one. And you see it all around the Philippines. Shops closing up, restaurants closing up, so they got to hopefully do something soon, because the Filipino people are really suffering. And that's a bad thing. That I don't know. Go more hike if the pill was released here, but even if it is, most women just can't afford it. They'd probably have to go to a doctor to get a prescription and all that, so it's just not used. And I mean, I wouldn't trust a woman who told me she's on the pill either. I'd protect myself no matter what. Do you have a crystal ball? Should I keep my money in global stocks? Your thoughts? I wish I had a crystal ball, but I'm really not a financial advisor. I've made some bad financial decisions in my life when it comes to stocks. So I'm not the right person to give advice, but no, diversification is the thing. I bought some Chinese stock a couple of 3 months ago, and oh my God, I got burned bad by that. Haven't sold them because I believe in the company, but I lost quite a bit on that if I'd sold it today. So yeah, you gotta be careful, man. I think depends on your age group, but if you're a bit older and you're retiring in, let's say 10, 15 years, maybe put your money in different like ETFs and not individual stocks, like your gains will be less, but your losses will also be less. Sorry, I got something in my eye, guys. Dicky Spa says, LOL, you see all these college football stadiums with 70,000 maskless fans in them, but yeah, let's keep everybody scared. I don't think it's about keeping people scared. It's just about reality. I mean, in Israel, the highest vaccinated country in the world, has 80% of the new cases from vaccinated. I just reviewed the updated chart today. Oh, really? Huh. Is that the Delta variant, maybe? So yeah, some of these variants are breaking through then, I guess. But what's the hospitalization rate in Israel? That's what you got to look at. That people get the virus is one thing, but how many of them end up in hospital? That's the other thing. New travel ban lifted for 10 countries of September 6th. Yep. But still, no tourists here, so it doesn't really matter. In the USA, more access to control multiple forms has reduced unwed motherhood. In the USA, more access to birth control multiple forms has reduced unwed motherhood. Yeah. But still, I wouldn't trust anybody if I'm not. You got to protect yourself to make sure, because getting a girl accidentally pregnant is going to cost you a lifetime of hurt if you don't want that kid. I have lots of vaccinated family in Oklahoma. They still got COVID. Again, you can still get COVID, but how many of them ended up in hospital? 98% of them have a medical condition, underlying medical condition. Yep, that's exactly right. And that is never reported. I think it is reported, but not in big letters in the news. I mean, like I said, most of the stuff I see on the news here are people in the hospitals they're pretty big, you know. So that tells me they're not exactly living a healthy lifestyle. Go More Hike canceled his Netflix. Yeah, I did too. Doesn't mean I'm not going to get it back at some point, but there might be one or two shows I want to watch, so I'll put it on for a month and cancel again. Every show has to have the complete lineup of people. It's hilarious, and why I watch older stuff now. Yeah, exactly. It's just it's becoming ridiculous, and people are seeing through it too. I mean, it's just it's becoming so politically correct. It's just it makes you want to puke. Duatha says, yes, that's my point. We haven't begun to see what the virus can do against the vaccines. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be a yearly deal or every 6 months. What's this? The virus is a bioweapon that accidentally escaped a lab. It will take 3 to 5 years to build immunity to 2023, looking realistic. Well, it's not a very good bioweapon if that's a bioweapon. But I don't know. It might have been a virus in the lab. There's been talk about that. There's a, what do you call it? Like one of those labs in Wuhan where the whole thing started. So I don't know. They haven't been able to prove one thing one way or the other. So I wouldn't say that with 100% certainty. But yeah, there are rumors of it, and but nothing has been proven. Thank you for the super chat, Tom. Main difference is no one says no travel if no flu shot, not like this pandemic. Yeah, true. But however, this pandemic is a lot more severe, deadly than the flu. I mean, what is it? Like 10 times more deadly or something than the flu. So, I mean, my mother died of COVID. So, you know, but she had other health issues as well. So, and she's older. I don't know, Paul. I have choked a few cougars in my time. Don't write off older women. Well, most men. I don't want to pop anybody's bubble here, but I think most guys watching this know this. If you have a choice between a 50-year-old and a 25-year-old, guess what the majority of men are going for here? I'm just saying, that's just reality. In regard to the concept of exception to the rule, the existence of variance isn't proof against the existence of fundamental pattern. Jordan Peterson. True. Jordan Peterson is a great guy, very a great philosopher. God, sorry guys, I can't talk this morning. Okay. Guys, when talking to each other, be respectful, okay? Please. Not once have I seen anyone promoting natural immunity or maintaining a healthy weight on the news. That should tell you something. Completely agree with you, Wandering Doc. I mean, I read a statistic this a few months back, and I might not have it completely correct, but something like 95 to 97%, I think maybe it was 96% of the people coming into hospital with serious outcomes were people that were deficient in vitamin D. I mean, some were just deficient, some severely deficient, but they never talk about that, or hardly ever talk about that. You know, taking vitamin D, making sure you take zinc, making sure all your vitamins are at the optimum level, but you have to have a blood test for that, right? So there's a lot of things you can do. You can work out, eat healthy, but they don't talk about that. It's like everybody wants the easy way out, right? Everybody wants a vaccine. Nothing wrong in vaccines. I got vaccinated, but I mean, if people were healthy in the US and not overweight the way they are and eating unhealthy the way they do, if people were healthy, I think the death rate and hospitalization rate would be down by at least 50%, you know, if not more. Lawman said, what is the danger or concern about paying someone a monthly amount? The danger there, if you're cohabitating especially, is that they have gotten used to a certain lifestyle and gotten used to you giving them a monthly amount, and I guess they could go to court and ask for it. Is it going to happen? I'd say 99.99% no. It's just too costly. No Filipino, I should say no, but you know, a plurality of Filipinas are not going to go to a lawyer and try to extract money from you, because the cost of that for them would be extreme, and they just don't have the money. Drug Talk TV, wondering, Doc, totally agreed. This would have been a huge time to push for being healthier, fight against obesity and so on, but crickets take the shot. Well, you know, this, what is that new movement in the US? I can't remember the name of it, but fat acceptance, or, you know, if you're fat, you're beautiful, and blah, blah, blah. It's, you know, trying to make the fat woman like the normal now, you know. I mean, the US, you look at a normal girl, a non-fat girl, normal girl walking by, and she's hot because everybody else is fat. You know, it's like, wow, look at her, she's hot. She's just normal. She's just average. It's just the other are so big that's not even worth looking at, you know. Duata has names for my new channel. I like Primal Door. You open the door to your primal part of the brain. Macron, could he leave her? I wonder what would happen to his career if he did so. Yeah, but he could still leave. I mean, I think he's set for life if he leaves anyway. So COVID-19 is 3 times deadlier than the flu. I thought it was 10 times. I seem to remember that number somewhere. Not once have I ever seen a vaccine passport and a travel restriction for people without a flu shot. True. Almost every woman from China or Japan I've dated long-term had rich parents. No reason can't do that in the Philippines. I'm sure you can. But there's just not that many. And the other thing is, many of the rich girls here are kind of, what's the word? Not many, but some are overweight. They seem to, once they get to and spoiled, yeah, very spoiled and overweight. And when they get to a certain amount of money, you know, they go to all these restaurants and they keep eating and eating and eating, and no one seems to be teaching them, you know, restraint on the food and exercise and all that. I mean, there are some, I'm sure, that are in very good shape and everything, but I'm saying from what I've noticed, it seems like most of the middle-class women, at least, are somewhat overweight to extreme overweight. Not sure why the abortion pill is not offered as an option to young Filipino. That's not going to happen here. Having a baby at 16 and no support from father has closed the doors on her future. True. But at the same time, she made a decision to go sleep with somebody, so she's suffering the consequences of that. But yeah, that ain't going to happen. COVID is more like 20 times more deadly, says Tuatha. Okay, so we have 3 times. I say 10 times, and Duarte says 20 times. I'm sure somebody has the correct statistic somewhere. Is there still a huge shabu problem there? I don't know. I haven't read that much about it in the news lately, so I would say probably not, but I'm not in those circles, so I don't know. But I think probably not. Where there's a large age disparity, money is generally the main driver. Just my opinion. Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it's not. But usually, yes. Steele says, just try taking half from a Filipina. See you on Happy Mountain. Yeah. Influenza A plus B is deadlier than COVID-19 for ages below 60. Okay. What if you buy a condo before the marriage? Oh, if you're getting married? No, it doesn't matter. It's all community property, is my understanding. But cohabitation, the condo is still yours. Unless for marriage, you'd have to have a prenup for that. Then the condo would belong to you. If you don't have a prenup and get married, then the condo is community property. COVID-19 survival rate, 99.7%. Influenza, 99.9%. That's 3 times. And this is all corners, including 400 pounds and age above 80, says Wandering Duck. Okay. So basically, influenza is 1 out of 1,000, and COVID-19 is 3 in 100. No, wait. Sorry. Survival rate, not death rate, of course. Survival rate. So 99.7. So, okay. So 3 in 100 die from COVID-19. 3 in 1,000 die from COVID-19, you're saying, and 1 in 1,000 from influenza. Okay, well, I thought it was higher, but maybe I'm wrong. Also, maybe it was higher in the beginning because I think now they've found a lot of good treatments that can help people who have severe reactions to corona. Filipino with purple hair avoid? Yes, absolutely. Vaccine data chart in the article from Israel. Okay. Wandering Duck says, hello, Paul from Honolulu, Hawaii. Hello, man. If you're dating exclusive for a few years in person, an LDR combo, and she lives in very substandard housing, when you move to the Philippines permanently, I don't see it realistic to live separately. I do, actually. If you don't want to live together, if you're like, okay, I don't want to live with anybody, you can set her up in a nicer boarding house for, $100, $150. So, yeah, it's possible. That's really up to you, man. It's really up to you. Wandering Doc, I'm currently drinking a hipster pour-over coffee in a CBD shop in Waikiki. Sounds good, man. It sounds like you're living the good life, Wandering Doc. It's good to be you. Okay. Guys, let's not get into the weeds of the statistics. I'm sure people can pull up different statistics from different places. Let's just agree that, in general, I think COVID is probably more deadly than, the flu. But should we be going through all we're going through? I don't think so. I think we need to start treating, like I said in the beginning, as an endemic and not a pandemic. We just have to live with it. September 1, COVID tracker showing 19.9% fully vaccinated. You're talking about the Philippines here, right? Because I think I remember those numbers for the Philippines. Does shahira law override Filipino law in the Muslim community? That's a good question. I think not. I mean, they had a big fight with some Muslim terrorist organization in one of these islands. I think it was Mindanao somewhere. So I think not. I think Filipino law is Filipino law and has to be abided by everybody. Muslims, Christians, Jews, and foreigners, all the same. Birth control can be free here. GF gives it away at her job. Pills, IUD, Depro shot, church, unhappy. I'm lucky that she doesn't want kids. I'm fixed, so no problem, no allowance or family support. Oh, good for you. I haven't heard of anywhere, babe.
Yeah.
Have you heard of anywhere that they give away the birth control pill here in the Philippines? Like give it away for free? No?
Because this is a Catholic country. You know that, right? And the Catholic people, they don't approve them.
They don't approve of the pill. Yeah, I think that's an unusual situation where you actually have someone giving away the pill for free. That's not a usual thing over here. So, what is your monthly date? it's December. Gail, the divorce law can also work as a two-way street. If you're married to a Filipina and the relationship goes bad, then you have a way out. I'm glad we have it here in the States. If you're married to a Filipina and the relationship goes bad, then you have a way. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, but to me, getting the divorce law will lead to worse things here. Then I understand what you're saying, and I understand some people need a divorce. But typically when divorce laws are written, and I read the divorce law that was proposed here, and it's always much more female friendly than it is male friendly. And in time, it will be even more female friendly. So I think in general, going down that road is not a good thing for relationships, for the core family values, for people breaking up. I understand why it's needed sometimes, but in general, I don't think it's a good road to go down. Go Mark Hike says he's a big fan of Kevin Samuels. Yeah, me too. Steele says, end no fault, bring back responsibility, assess for damage. Yeah, but that ain't gonna happen, that ain't gonna happen in the West. Good luck with that, man. It just ain't gonna happen. 100% possible and realistic to live with 3 or 4 women in Brazil, Colombia, and Philippines. Similarities, poorer countries, and no feminism. Yeah. I think, no, I haven't been to Brazil or Colombia. Wandering Dog, so you probably talk better to this than me, but I think it would be easier in Brazil and Colombia than it would be in the Philippines, since Philippines are more of a Catholic and country. So I don't know. But is it possible here in the Philippines? Absolutely. Like I said, a friend of mine has. So yeah, Kevin Samuels and this girls rate themselves 8 or 9. He says you're average at best. Tom says Philippine Airlines will survive. It's better this way. It might be better, but I'm just wondering about the people holding tickets. Do they get their money back, or do they just lose money since they went bankrupt? Not sure. Women would rather share an alpha than be saddled with a faithful beta. Yeah, that is true. That is really, really true. If you live with 2 girlfriends, then no requirements to split assets. That's also really true, because in 147 and 148, it's something like if a man and a woman live like husband and wife. Well, if you're a man and you got 2 girls, you ain't living like husband and wife. So yeah, that would make 147 and 148 non-valid in your case. Yeah, true. So there you go, man. That's a way around that cohab law. Cohab with 2 different girls. Yeah, I read that one. Gail says Philippine Air is going through restructuring under Chapter 11. Yep, they are. Wandering Dog says, I've successfully been pulling out 200 plus women for 17 years and no kids yet. I assume no woman is on birth control. Half the time she isn't taking it properly. Yeah, the pull-out method. What shall I say about that? You got to have a strong will for that, man. Some people don't have that type of willpower, Wandering Dog. So Duata says there are structural reasons why you should get out of Chinese stock. You know, I probably should have sold on the way down, but I didn't. So I'm just going to hold and hopefully things go well. If not, I'll lose a big chunk of money. And never trust a woman to take the pill. Yep. The pill gives the woman total power. I know 2 women who just dropped the pill in the toilet when they were ready for children. Yes, exactly. Just don't. When it comes to having kids, the only person you trust is yourself. That's the only person you trust. I mean, if you use a condom, you take that condom and flush it down the toilet, man. That's the only person you can trust is yourself. So yeah, because having a kid that you don't want, that's a big detriment on your life, man. You know, especially if you're in the West with the amount of child support you need to pay. I mean, let's say you're 40 or 45 and you make a girl pregnant. Well, you're going to be paying child support till 63, okay? And you're not going to be able to retire early. You're not going to be able to do anything you want. You're not going to be able to save. It's just going to make your life a living hell unless you want a kid, you know? And now women can choose they don't want a kid and take an abortion. You can't do that. You can't do a financial abortion. You can't say to a girl, I don't want a kid. You want a kid, that's on you. You can't say that. But again, it's all whatever benefits the female. Males are the disposable sex. If a man could take a pill that gives 99.98% chance of curing cancer, no man would ever die again from it. Yeah. And I did a semen analysis last year. Highly fertile. Good to know, Wandering Duck. Pull out does work when you do it like you have something to lose. Yeah, I mean, thing is, some people pull out in the last second. You gotta pull out like, 10 seconds before or something to make sure. But still, I would still use a condom. There's a lot of STDs out there and people. Breaking through or don't really work. All about the wording right there. Don't matter. Government has the power. I don't know what that means. Drug talk. Too tall. They said on the news that 1,100 people are dying each day in the US from COVID-19. Okay. Now for the good news. They found a cure for all serious ailments, heart, lung, and so on. No deaths since COVID-19. Yeah, there are deaths, but you just don't get reported the way the COVID does. So I'm guessing, wondering, isn't a real doc. I think he actually is a real doctor. See what's happening here. John Taylor says, be careful about spreading misinformation. It might be that many Israelis are flouting mask users instead of breakthrough cases causing the surge. Okay. I don't quite understand that. If you have 100% people vaccinated and they're not using masks, it means the vaccine isn't stopping people from spreading the disease. It might mean it's stopping people from going to the hospital, but that's about it, right? I think everything I'm reading now and listening to news, the Delta variant, and I believe the Alpha variant, and these new variants are the vaccine is not that efficient against them, meaning for spreading the virus. Yes, they're still stopping people from going to the hospital, but they're not stopping the virus spread 100%, for lack of better terminology. They have always said with flu shots that they are not foolproof. Yep, true. It just prevents the major ones from causing your demise. Yep. And I think it's going to be the same with the COVID shots. Yeah. Paul, you can't prove the origin if the country it came out won't cooperate. It was a lab escape. Well, Dave, if you can't prove something, you can't definitely say that it was or was not, right? That's the whole point of proving something. You can say more than likely, or the, you know, most of the evidence points that way, but you can't say that it's definite. Like, you can't say it was a lab escape. That would mean that you have 100% proof of it, which we don't. So I would have to disagree with you there. There's, I can't say one way or the other, really. I feel the urge to say, show me your papers, as a joke. Boxer Oscar de la Hoya was fully vaccinated and still got it. And he's deadly ill in the hospital now. Really? I wonder which one he got. De La Hoya is in the hospital? Really? I haven't even heard that. So that's... let me see. De La Hoya Hospital. COVID. De La Hoya Hospital with COVID. Withdraws from Victor fight 1 day ago. It just says he's in the hospital. It doesn't say he is deadly or something. Says, I mean, what are the chances of me getting COVID? I've been taking care of myself, and this has really kicked my ass, the fighter said in the video from the hospital bed. He was supposed to do a fight at 40 years old. Had a breakthrough COVID. Yeah, so he's been vaccinated. Doesn't say which vaccine he took. There you go. That's a guy who's healthy. So, you know, I mean, you can't say De La Hoya is not healthy. I'm sure he eats healthy, he exercises and everything. So there you go. That's good info. Thanks on that, Patrick. My Pinoy relatives in the States don't invest in the Philippines, but some retire, pick up a condo or a beach house. Yeah. It's not a country I would invest in. There's too many draconian laws, and the judicial system is not set up in a way that would benefit you as a foreigner. So I would personally not invest in this country. I'm going to be renting here. If I live here the rest of my life, I'll be renting the rest of my life. I'm just not going to put my money in here. Unless the laws change and the judicial system changes, which I don't really foresee anytime soon. It's funny how people, it's funny how people, this all MDs are so busy and could never post on YouTube. A radiologist works standard office hours, and most of our jobs are 12 to 16 vacation annually. It's funny how people, this all MDs are so busy and could never post on YouTube. Not sure what you mean by that, Wandering Duck. Dave, you can't prove that it was a lab escape. Yeah, you can't prove it. So you can't say it with 100% certainty. You can say it with 90% certainty, but not 100% certainty. Sorry, my phone's buzzing. Just 1 second. It's a good friend of mine trying to call me. See here. Duata says, Doc, the jab reduces deaths by 90%. However, as a risk for an 80-year-old is 1,000 times higher than a 20-year-old, and most deaths will still be older vax people. Don't believe clickbait's articles. Okay. See. Nothing wrong with vaccines, says Wandering Doc. I've gotten 30 plus shots in the service. It's the deliberate withholding of information and lies spreads by government. As an example, the cerveza sickness. Okay. Everybody's senator says just take vitamin D3 and roll the dices. I mean, it's not one or the other. right? I mean, I take vitamin D3 because I've had my blood tested, and every time I test my blood, I'm low on vitamin D3. And the older you get, the less D3 your body's able to take up. So, and wondering, Doc, and I'm sure correct me on that if I'm wrong. So it is important to take your supplement. It is important to take a blood test and see if all your vitamin levels and all these other levels are where they're supposed to be, and if not, what can you do to make them where they're supposed to be. So he says, Duatha, good points. Guys, I'm going to go on for 10 more minutes and then I'm going to call it quits. Drug Talk says, have you heard of a YouTuber called Vagabond Awake? Yes, he actually lived in Dumaguete for a while, who travels around the world in lots of places, but has a Penai woman as his companion. She's not Penai, she's from Malaysia, of Chinese descent. So yeah, she used to be a model actually. So yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. Good show and lots of info on other countries. I think a good Filipina might be a great travel companion instead of settling down there. Yeah, I mean, get a Filipino with a passport and travel to Thailand, travel to Malaysia, Vietnam. Your world is your oyster, man. Yep, I just said that. 95% of people in COVID ICUs in my area have one vax or zero. Yeah. If the vaccine works, then it would actually work. I'm fully vaccinated for everything except for COVID. I don't trust this current vaccine. Neither do 30% of doctors, nurses, surgeons, etc. I don't know. When I've seen how many millions of people have gotten the vaccines and, how few people have side effects. I got side effect, but I didn't die. So, by the way, you recently discovered your channel. So thanks for the great videos and happy for you and Mia. Thank you, Drug Dog TV. Jeff Assassin says, I prefer the single life. I enjoy the freedom I have, and I don't have the responsibilities that comes with having a girlfriend or a wife. Yep, some people don't like responsibility. If you don't have a living girlfriend or a wife. Daily cases here in Hawaii spiking to 800 to 1,000. Wow. Not sure the significance of this. Is just cases which can be modified by changing the cycle threshold numbers of the PCR tests. Okay. The main thing for me to look at is the hospitalization rate. That tells you everything. Go more hike is how much longer do I have to wait for the Philippines? I kind of covered that in the beginning. I think it'll be towards the election. I think Gio's going to win his coffee. I think it's become more political than anything else now. It's just, if you try to think like a politician, what's best for you? 2-3 months before the election, maybe, and then you look like a hero and you get voted back in. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the case, but it seems like right now they have no reason to really keep it closed from everything I've seen. Why would they keep it closed? As an example, why would they keep it closed to people who are vaccinated? They say, well, we don't want these new variants coming into the country. Well, they had everything closed. The Delta came here anyway. The Alpha is here. And I'm sure this Me variant will be here very shortly. So either they have to close it completely down, which they can't because, ships come in every day with goods. So what about the sailors coming in? Are they gonna? How? It's just impossible. It's a very contagious virus, and it's gonna spread. So they gotta. I think it's starting. People are starting to come to the realization it's not a pandemic anymore. It's an endemic, and we have to live with it. So I think hopefully by election time they've come to that realization and they've started to open it. So anyway, guys, it's 8:40. And I'm just going to go quickly through. Let's see here. Go more hike. Ask what you're reading. I'm reading a book called The Book of Numbers. Can't remember the author's name right now, but he's a lot on Richard Cooper's YouTube channel. Okay. Wandering Doc says the daily deaths in Hawaii are less than 10, which is really not that much. The vaccinated people, wait. Ken says the vaccinated people like me are the ones spreading the virus here in the US since they are asymptomatic. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but let's see here. Yeah, it's become a lot of medical talk here. Okay, guys, I think that's Wandering Dog says, Edward, you mean Vagabond Awake's voice and delivery is kind of dry, right? I like his channel. Dave Johnson says, De La Hoya had all kinds of bad addictions. This opened him up to many diseases and a weak immune system. He might have addictions, but he's got to be really healthy if he's a boxer. I mean, think about his strength. Think about how much he works out. You can't be unhealthy and be at the top of your game. There's no way. Okay. Okay, guys, I think I'll wrap it up here. And I'll wrap it up here. Sorry, I was reading the last comment here. I'll wrap it up here and say thank you for everybody joining me today. And thank you so much for the conversation. It was a great conversation again. And for all the super chats, thank you so much for that. And I hope to see you next Monday. We'll have another discussion on a different topic. What topic? I don't know, but see you guys then. And if you haven't checked out my videos on cohabitation and marriage, I'd ask you to check those out because those are important. Also, Gio in the Philippines has one that he just put out there about some other laws which can affect foreigners that are cohabitating. And he's having another video out on Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't check out his channel there too. So those are important videos to watch, and I would say you need to watch those. So especially if you're thinking of cohabitating or thinking of coming to the Philippines. So with that, I say thank you for everybody for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you, and bye-bye.